Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for January 10, 2024. And in the news this evening, firefighter held for killing of mother-in-law. A 40-year-old firefighter has been taken into police custody in connection with the killing of his 63-year-old mother-in-law in 9 Palm in Claremont, St. Anne. The deceased woman has been identified as Maxine Parkinson from Archer Hill District in Claremont. Reports reaching the news indicated that around 7 a.m. on Tuesday, Parkinson's daughter visited the Claremont police station and filed a missing person report. Police, acting on information hours later, took the son-in-law into custody. The firefighter, it is understood, took the police to a location in 9 Palm and pointed out the body of the elderly woman who was in a state of decomposition. Parkinson's body reportedly had wounds all over the upper section and her right eye was missing. She was clad in a black top and a burgundy skirt was on her right leg only. Police said a flashlight and a pair of blue slippers said to belong to the deceased and a black phone charger were at the scene. A black Toyota Voxy owned by the son-in-law was processed at the Claremont police station. A brown stain resembling blood was reportedly swabbed from a machete found inside the driver's door. Blood samples were also taken from the AC unit, trunk, and the running board of the vehicle. Blue paint samples were taken from the front passenger seat and the running board, the police said. Up to Wednesday morning, the firefighter had not been charged. Trelawney siblings are charged with murder offered bail. The 2 Trelawney siblings charged with last month's murder of 59-year-old fisherman David Brown were offered bail in the sum of $300,000 each when they made their first appearance in the Trelawney Parish Court on Wednesday. The accused are Brown's wife, 56-year-old babysitter Sylvia Montague Brown, and her brother, 60-year-old gardener Lester George Montague, both of Wakefield Trelawney addresses. They are both represented by attorney-at-law Henry McCurdy. The two were booked to return to court on Tuesday, March 12, by Parish Court Judge Ruth Lawrence. The court heard that the postmortem and the forensic reports were not ready. On Saturday, December 30, 2023, David Brown's lifeless, bludgeoned, blood-drenched body was found in bushes close to the matrimonial home he and his wife shared in Wakefield. His body, which had multiple wounds, was wrapped in a white bed sheet. It was discovered on a sheet of zinc close to the couple's house. The police said the night before, the Browns were engaged in a domestic dispute. Threats were allegedly made during the fracas, and Montague Brown reported the incident to the police. Combs visited the couple's home in an effort to quell the disturbance. However, sometime after 7 on Saturday morning, the police were again contacted by residents who reportedly heard a commotion coming from the couple's house. The brother and the sister were subsequently arrested and charged for the killing. Heavy police and military presence in 100 Lane after alleged police killing of 14-year-old. There is a heavy police and military presence in the community of 100 Lane off Red Hills Road in St. Andrew following the shooting death of a 14-year-old on Wednesday afternoon, allegedly by security forces. The deceased has been identified as Rasheem Wilson. The news understands that Wilson was shot and killed at approximately 1:30 p.m. Police report that a firearm was recovered from the crime scene. Residents are, however, disputing the shooting, as they allege the teen was murdered by law enforcers. Investigations are ongoing. Bus head gunned down at a shop in St. Anne. A St. Anne man was fatally shot at a shop in Alexandria on Tuesday. The victim, 31-year-old Neville Sawyers, also known as a bus head, was a laborer residing in Inverness district in the parish. Police reports indicate that around 9:05 p.m., Sawyers was at a shop when he was attacked by unknown assailants who opened fire, fatally injuring him. The police were called to the scene and Sawyers was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. St. Anne has recorded at least 3 murders since the beginning of the year. Earlier that day, at around 9 a.m., another incident occurred in which a 31-year-old Winston Scott was fatally shot in St. Anne's Bay. Tika Weed, one of St. James's most wanted, killed in alleged confrontation with the cops. The St. James police are reporting that a man who they have been actively seeking was fatally shot during an alleged confrontation with officers on Tuesday evening. The deceased has been identified as a 34-year-old Kenroy Roach, otherwise called Tickaweed, a laborer of Boog Hill in the parish. According to the police source, Roach has been on the police's radar for the last few years and is wanted for several crimes, including murders, shootings, and the stockpiling of ammunition. Reports are that about 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, a police team was in the community when the incident occurred. During the operation, conducted by a team from the St. James Proactive Investigation Unit and the Operations Support Team, Roach and 3 other armed men reportedly emerged from a shop and opened fire on the police officers. The officers, in response to the threat, returned fire. Following the exchange, Roach was found at the rear of the shop with a Glock pistol containing 2 live 9mm rounds. He was transported to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Investigations continue as the police search for the other 3 gunmen who reportedly fled the scene during the encounter. It is unclear if any of the fleeing gunmen were injured. No police officers were harmed during the operation. Lead investigator said he had numerous opportunities to record Beachy Stout's voice, but insists he had no reason to. The lead investigator in the murder trial of Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald and his co-accused Oscar Barnes was pressured by attorney-at-law Christopher Townsend on Tuesday to admit that he had numerous opportunities to record what Beachy Stout's voice sounded like during conversations he had with the Portland businessman. Townsend is one of 5 attorneys representing Beachy Stout in the Home Circuit Court trial in downtown Kingston. The other attorneys at law representing the businessman are Earl Hamilton, Ryan John Paul Hamilton, John Jacobs, and Courtney Rowe. The attorneys representing Oscar Barnes are Ernest Davis and Vincent Wellesley. Beachy Stout and Barnes are being tried for the July 20, 2020 murder in Portland of Tonya MacDonald, who was Beachy Stout's second wife. She was stabbed and her throat slashed. Her killer also set her and the motor vehicle she was driving on fire. On Tuesday, Townsend received the admission from the cop during cross-examination after numerous attempts by the lawyer, who had to pose the question many times in different ways before the detective gave a straightforward response. I would have had numerous opportunities to record his voice, but I don't have a need to record him. I met with him on several occasions and had conversations with him and a question and answer, the cop said. Townsend also quizzed the detective about the reasons why he omitted from his statement information about a controversial cellular phone on which more than 120 call conversations between Beachy Stout and the Denver-Lynn Bobler Minot were allegedly recorded. Minot is serving a 19-year and a 10-month prison sentence for being the contractor in the murder of Beachy Stout's wife. Beachy Stout is accused of hiring Minot to kill Tonya, but Minot claimed that he subcontracted the job to Oscar Barnes. It is alleged that Beachy Stout and Minot had numerous telephone conversations, which Minot claims he recorded on his Samsung cellular phone. The cell phone evidence is being relied on heavily by the prosecutors. The lead detective insisted on Tuesday that he was not hiding anything. I am not hiding information. I agree that the information came out after the case started, and I had 3 years to give the information. Leaving out the information out of diaries and statements wasn't deliberate. It was in my notebook. I didn't hide it, but I think it was fair to keep the information until after the trial started. Not every information can go in a statement. I would put it in a statement when it becomes critical. The prosecutor instructed me to write a third statement about the phone as it relates to the chain of custody. The detective sergeant said that during investigations, errors can be made. We can make errors at any time. To leave the details about the phone out of my statement was an error. It wasn't deliberate. The trial is currently underway in the Home Circuit Court.
Audio